When people talk about their favorite episodes of The Office, there's a few that usually pop up. Dinner Party is probably the most famous, most popular episode of the show there is, with the episode being full of all kinds of awkwardness and an inside the office look at Michael and Jan's relationship. For an early episode pick, people seem to love the basketball episode where the office staff take on the warehouse staff to see who's going to work on Saturday, because it's fun to see our favorite characters play, well, basketball. Casino night, stress relief, and the injury are also fair choices for someone's favorite episode. But we're not here to discuss these episodes, at least not today. While these are great episodes, they are heralded as great episodes by and large. These are all common episodes for people to point out and talk about. So today, we're going to give some love to an episode I don't think it's enough. That episode, of course, is Season 4, Episode 11, Survivor Man. Why do I think this is such an underrated episode? One that deserves more discussion and love? Well, let's get right into it. But first, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing it with your friends. Any little bit helps. Michael Scott is one of the greatest sitcom characters of all time, and a large part of that is, of course, due to Steve Carell's comedic performance. So many of his lines and idiosyncrasies are iconic and incredible, with so many different moments being replayed over and over in meme format or in everyday conversation with your friends. But there's a part of his performance that can be a bit understated and lost in the sauce, as the kids say, and that's Michael Scott's inherent sadness. We get little tidbits here and there of the kind of person he is and was, with many hints at his loneliness and lack of life outside of the titular office. He's a guy who is so intertwined with the lives of the people he works with, because the only way he's ever been able to make friends or get to know people is due to them having to talk to him because he's their boss. We even get to see young Michael at one point in the series, and we see how badly he wanted to have friends growing up, and how that might have made the man we see today.
So, tell me, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be married and have 100 kids so I can have 100 friends and no one can say no to being my friend.
In Survivor Man, we see that inherent need to be liked put to the test. In this episode, Ryan, the new vice president of Dunder Mifflin, and Michael's former forced adopted protege, invited all of the managers of the regional branches, except for Michael, but including Toby, on a weekend wilderness trip. Michael is clearly hurt by this and masks that feeling of betrayal from someone he sees as both a best friend and son, with a claim that he can fend for himself in the wild because he fancies himself as that kind of strong guy.
I only had to say, no more s'mores. No more s'mores.
He travels along with Dwight to the woods and promises to not come back until he proves himself. Of course, Dwight stays there to protect Michael, but we get to see what Michael is like, or feels free to say, when he's alone. I think the scene where he's yelling about his insecurities is telling and gives us a deeper look into his inner psyche.
Wish I could have gone with Ryan on that cool retreat! Jan has plastic boobs! I have hemorrhoids!
He knows his relationship with Jan is a bit of a sham. He's hurt by Ryan not asking to go on the trip. Jan does have fake boobs. There are things bothering him, and that these things are issues that other people see, but because he wants to be liked, he tends to let those people that are the issues walk all over him and not speak out until it's too late or it's in poor taste. This is a relatable, common predicament for a lot of people, including me, and it's something that really humanizes Michael as a character. He has feelings, he has thoughts, he's not just this crazy boss, but because he wants people to like him, he puts on a show. I think a lot of people feel like they have to do that. They have to be the people pleaser. And a lot of people are afraid of speaking up when they might be taken advantage of, in fear of hurting the person doing the actual hurting. In the B plot, we even get more depth given to us about Michael despite him not really being involved. Tim is made in charge of the office while Michael is out, and due to a bunch of birthdays happening at once, tries to combine them all together. Of course, this causes major issues around the office, forcing Jim to do one birthday at a time. When Michael comes back, he sympathizes with Jim, stating that he tried that once but realized it was better to give everyone their shine and that Jim would eventually learn. Jim states he might not be there long enough for that to matter, but Michael states that he never thought he'd be there that long either, producing a nice parallel for the pair, showcasing that Michael was someone who, like Jim, had dreams for better things at one point too. Michael in this episode, despite it starting as a pretty outrageous concept, is rounded out as a character and given a whole lot to work with on an emotional level. This episode does a fantastic job of humanizing Michael and gives Carell a lot of awkward, emotionally charged material to work with. Dinner Party gets a lot of love for good reason for being the most awkward and telling episode of the series, but Survivor Man does a pretty good job of that too, specifically with Michael Scott alone. Just a couple of gags I want to shout out before I end this video. I think if I do more Office videos, start doing favorite gags just so we can all kind of share the moment together. The bit about Michael explaining the birthday parties always makes me laugh.
Look at those wrinkles. Blacks do crack, not crack the drug.
Jim yelling at Toby when he's in charge, a running gag for many characters on the series.
Toby's great. He's great, but sometimes he can be a little bit much.
And Michael's duct tape pants. And that's it. What do you think is the most underrated episode of The Office? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. And have a office-tastic day. Do people say that? I don't know. Bye!